Good. All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the September 14th, 2017 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. If everyone would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. I'm Jeff Benton, President of the Board. To my left is Vice President Gary Merrill. To my right is fellow Commissioner Barb Lewis. And we are missing our administrator, which we expected. But I thought Dawn was going to sit in, but I don't see Dawn.
So here
So our other assistant administrator is Cy Kelly. He is with us today. Welcome, Cy.
Thanks. It's a relief pitcher, right?
Yeah, it's a relief pitcher. And Sarah DeNova is our clerk today, so we'll go ahead and start.
Resolution number 17-941, in the matter of approving the electronic record of the proceedings from regular meeting held September 11th, 2017. So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 17-941. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We have no public or elected comment today. Resolution number 17-942, in the matter of approving purchase orders, then announced certificates and payments of warrants and batch number CMA PR 0913. So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 17-942. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-943, in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 17-943. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-944, in the matter of setting the date and time for filing applications for designation of public depository of active public monies for Delaware County for a 4-year period commencing December 1st, 2017, pursuant to provisions of Section 135.33 of the Ohio Revised Code. So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
I have none.
Any comments?
No, I would just make a brief comment.
Identify yourself for the record. If you can identify yourself.
Mr. President, to the members of the board, I'm John Peterson, County Treasurer. And let me just offer a brief but important thank you to a member of your staff, Jennifer Raven. I don't know how long this has been in effect, but it certainly worked for me, a notification prior to the expiration of a contract. And so my thanks in that regard. And it led to this morning, where we're starting the process, which happens every 4 years, of designating public depositories.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-944. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Next, we have Sean Miller, Delaware County Emergency Management Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sean Miller, Director, Delaware County Emergency Management. Here today for two reasons. First is the authorities document for commissioners in a disaster. And do you have copies of that in front of you? Okay, great. This is a document that was put together as sort of an additional discussion on commissioners' authorities, and our emergency operations plan that we have in Delaware County touches on the authorities that different officials have in a disaster. And we put this together as kind of an additional document, an additional discussion to that legal listing. And I worked with Andrew King, Eric Hochstetler of the prosecutor's office. And so I'll just kind of go through it. I won't read the revised code sections by word, but I'll just kind of go and give a highlight. The first one is declaring the local disaster, and this is the one where that I think you would probably heard about the most. And if you look at things in Florida right now, certainly a lot of local disasters have been declared and that sort of thing for those counties. Certainly things are different in Florida from a legal standpoint, but here declaring a disaster does a few different things. And first off, it is a statement that local resources are overwhelmed. And so, 99.999% of the time, if there's a car accident or a fire or a law enforcement situation, those sorts of incidents can be handled by our local first responders. Sure, you might have some mutual aid within the county, that sort of thing, but they can be handled 99% or more of the time just through our local resources. However, if you look at an incident such as a Hurricane Ike, which we had in 2008, or some of the severe ice storms we've had over the years, those kinds of incidents can start to stretch our resources a little bit more thin. And in those sorts of incidents, we could theoretically need to issue a disaster declaration. And that could be done by the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. The state of Ohio typically looks to see if the county has declared, certainly a city, a township could declare a village, but when the county has declared, it really sends a strong message that local needs have been exhausted. And so that starts to get the ball rolling for state resources, and it can also get the ball rolling for county resources from other parts of the state. And one example of that is through the IMAC system, which is the Interstate Mutual Aid Compact. And when a local disaster declaration is issued, then there are provisions through that system whereby reimbursement can be sought after the first 8 hours of a deployment. So if we were issuing a local disaster declaration here and say we needed resources from Union County, then through that system, they would respond for 8 hours, and anything over that 8 hours, as long as other provisions were met, they could seek reimbursement from the requesting entity. So there are these processes that are in place for requesting resources from the state as well as other counties. And that local disaster declaration really starts to kick off those requests for resources. It signals a very strong message that something serious is going on and local resources are exhausted. Also, it's a demonstration to the public that the county takes response to and recovery from whatever incident it may be very seriously, and we are taking rather appropriate action to deal with that incident. Additionally, it changes bidding thresholds per Ohio Revised Code, Section 307.86, and I won't get into the specifics of that, but it does raise the bidding threshold. And additionally, it changes the requirements for public meetings. And so, Eric, feel free to back me up here, but I believe the standard notification time frame for the media for public meetings is 24 hours. This does away with that period, but we still have to notify the media that have requested notification for these special emergency meetings where there's a clear and imminent need for public action. So it does change the notification requirements for the media as well. And lastly, it also memorializes the disaster or incident. And so we can go back and look through the Commissioner's records as far as what disasters caused a declaration locally over the years. And so it is a historical record of that. So that is local disasters, kind of at the 50,000-foot view, the declarations. But there are a couple of other authorities that commissioners have as well, and I'll get into these. I was hoping we could have a representative from the Red Cross here today because they very much fall in line with these functions as well, but because of the hurricanes, they're very short-staffed, as you can imagine, and hopefully at some point in the near future we could have a follow-up discussion with them. But conducting shelter operations, this is one that is typically looked at nationwide as far as the Red Cross, but under the Ohio Revised Code and some Attorney General opinions, the commissioners can help to support those operations. But I would like to stress that this would most likely be under very extreme circumstances. Number one, Ohio, Delaware County, they're very resource-rich jurisdictions. And I think that if people can avoid going to a shelter, so if they're going to a friend or a family member's house, let's say there's an ice storm and they're without power, I think they would prefer to go to a friend or a family member's home versus a shelter. But under extreme circumstances, such as really bad ice storm, perhaps where travel is impacted and they can't travel to friends or family's houses, and Red Cross shelter is the best option, then I think that they would. And we have had a couple instances where people have gone to shelters in the past, and under extreme circumstances, where perhaps resources are stretched thin throughout the state, only then could I ever foresee the commissioners needing to assist with those shelter operations. But they can do that. They can utilize public funds for that. But again, I don't see our average ice storm or windstorm getting to that point whereby those public funds would be needed to support those operations. And the way it would work in Delaware County is we would work very closely with the commissioners as well as the county administrator based off of the information that we received through 911 and our first responders, the Red Cross, that sort of thing. And we would have those discussions beforehand, and we would keep everyone in the loop as far as situation reports, that sort of thing, so that we would have a good understanding of the situation going into circumstances like this. So again, that communication beforehand is very important, and I would stress that it would be extreme circumstances that would prompt anything along those lines. And I can't imagine that this would come up very often because, historically speaking, it hasn't. So that's one thing I want to stress with that. The commissioners can expend public funds to support shelter operations, but I do not foresee it being very likely. Along those lines, too, that sort of falls underneath that, performing mass feeding, and that's one of those things that you would imagine going kind of hand in hand with a shelter operation. This is something that not only Red Cross can do, but also Salvation Army and some of the faith-based organizations. So again, I would say that it is extremely unlikely that this need would be ever brought to the commissioners for additional public funds, but under extreme circumstances it could happen. And again, they can utilize public funds for that. And lastly, under resources, resource control. So if, let's say, environmental services needed a generator under emergency circumstances, controlling those resources for the public good, of course, could also be done. And I think that one's fairly self-explanatory. And lastly, one that may not be as well known about is enacting a curfew. And so this is something that commissioners can do, and this is under Ohio Revised Code Section 307.71. And I won't read it off to you, but essentially it looks at juveniles, and this would be something that would be done in coordination with law enforcement and 911 Center Emergency Management. If we were having law enforcement agencies report that this is an ongoing concern, an issue, then that is an option that we could look at. And again, I would be working very closely, emergency management would be working very closely with the county administrator as well as the county commissioners to keep you apprised of the situation so that if we had to look at these sorts of decisions, we could do so with the best information. So that is kind of it in a nutshell. I don't want to take up too much time. I know you have a very busy agenda today, but these are some of the things that commissioners have the authority to do in a disaster, and I just wanted to give you kind of the overarching view of that. And I also do have a sample emergency declaration, disaster declaration at the local level that I will email to all of you if you don't already have that. So with that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
As the board's representative on the Emergency Management Board, when I first got on the board, I wanted to know what are the commissioners' responsibilities, and so I read through them, but then I wanted it really spelled out, and that's why I really appreciate the separate document, and and then also the oversight in case we needed to make any changes, Eric and Andrew too, from the prosecutor's office in double checking everything. But now we're very clear. When I looked at the mass feedings, I'm thinking, like, do we have to set up a kitchen, or how will this be done? Am I going to be making macaroni and cheese? I mean, which would be fine, but, we're going to need an awful lot of it. So I said, Sean, now who specifically is going to do this? And so I did talk with Sean about contacting the Red Cross and Salvation Army or whomever you thought would be
Right, we don't expect the commissioners to make macaroni and cheese, although that does sound very good. But we would coordinate these sorts of things through our partners to ensure that they were carried out. And
then you contacted everyone and made sure that they were ready to provide the service.
Yes, Commissioner. And then the other thing, too, I'd like to point out is we recently had our emergency operations plan reviewed by Ohio Emergency Management. And I told them about this ongoing discussion we've had with the commissioners, and they were very impressed by that, and the proactive nature of that discussion to drill down more on those authorities so that if the need for a local disaster declaration should arise, we're all on the same page beforehand to streamline things. So they were very complimentary of that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's a very helpful document, Sean. Really
Thank you.
appreciate you laying it out so clearly. There's some things in there I didn't realize. You know,
I think the curfew one is the one that was...
Okay. Any other questions,
I
comments?
have no question.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, I think next, yeah.
Resolution number 17-945, in the matter of proclaiming the month of September 2017 be designated as National Preparedness Month in Delaware County.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Hello again. I just wanted to touch on National Preparedness Month a little bit. As you're aware, September is National Preparedness Month, and certainly September has a lot of anniversaries in it, of course 9/11 being the first and foremost, but also the 14th of September, which was, of course, Hurricane Ike for us, and that was during the fair, and that was very impactful, and our Emergency Operations Center was activated for that, and it was a very good learning experience, I think, for all of us here, and we did get public assistance out of that, and by public assistance, I mean federal reimbursement for public entities such as the townships, cities, the county, for eligible costs incurred during that response. And so that was the last time we received those federal dollars for public assistance, and so it was very impactful. But those are the sorts of anniversaries in September that we can think of when we're promoting preparedness, because things can and do happen here, along with ice storms, blizzards, severe summer weather, and because we're not a hurricane state, I think that we need to promote practical preparedness that makes sense for Central Ohio. And in the hurricane states, as we've seen, it really does make sense to have a large preparedness kit. But in Central Ohio, I think having even some rudimentary sorts of things in your house can go a long way to preparing you. And simply having a means of receiving alerts and notifications is extremely important. So that wireless emergency alerts system, that Amber Alert you may have received on your phone, that is a nationwide system that can alert you for events of national significance, such as a 9/11, but also Amber Alerts, tornado warnings, things of that nature. Of course, we have our local Delco Alerts system, which is very good too, and there are many other things out there, from weather radios to apps that you can download, a whole host of different ways of receiving alerts and notifications, and certainly social media. You know, if people don't already follow emergency management, fire, EMS, their 911 centers, that's a great way to receive information. And 72 hours worth of food inside your home, you know, this doesn't need to be a costly thing. Just as residents go out to the store, maybe buy an extra can of whatever their favorite food is and put it in their pantry, make sure that they have no less of 72 hours worth of food, as well as life-sustaining medications. And also generator and alternate heating safety, as we're about to get into the colder months here. Oftentimes home fires are a result of alternate heating methods. Knowing how to do so safely, either under normal circumstances or an ice storm, is extremely important, as well as having a smoke detector. And so just some of those very basic things that either cost a very small amount of money or no money whatsoever, just having a little bit of knowledge can go a long way to being prepared. And so I think that that is a key point for preparedness in Central Ohio.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we do have a proclamation that we have all signed. And we won't read it in the interest of time, but I think we all recognize, particularly this past weekend with Irma, I mean, that just says this is why you need to be prepared.
Yes.
We don't expect to have a hurricane, but we do have some of those others disasters that are threatening. So anyway, again, great work in keeping us
Thank you.
prepared, and we're glad to support this with a proclamation. And all three of us have signed it, so.
Great. Thank you,
If
Commissioners.
you wanted a picture?
Can we get a vote?
Just vote first.
Can we vote first?
What? Oh, we can vote first? Sure.
Vote on motion 17-945. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Tried to play musical chairs. I'm good. I'll send you mine. Yes, Sandy, come on. Come on. Yeah. Gosh. You, Sandy. Oh. Right here. I'd love to get rid of this thing. Oh, okay. Very good, thank you.
All right. And Sandy, I've got your phone. I don't know if that scares you or not, but it should. All right.
All right. We have voted, and now we'll move on to the next item.
Resolution number 17-946, in the matter of declaring the necessity to improve the intersection of Smothers and Red Bank Roads and approving the cooperative agreement with Franklin County.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. As you may recall, we have been working with the Franklin County Engineers Office on a joint project to improve the intersection of Smothers and Red Bank Road with a single-lane roundabout. We have reached the point in that project now where we'd like to formalize that agreement between Franklin County and ourselves to complete the project. Basically, what this agreement says, Franklin County has graciously offered to administer this project through a design, right-of-way, and construction, which we are more than happy to let them do. They're capable, and at this point, we have about 40 other active projects, so we're happy to let them take this one. Overall, this is a $2.4 million project. Franklin County, again, thanks to them, they have secured $1.3 million worth of highway safety funding for this, leaving about $1.1 million, which we are proposing to split 50-50 with Franklin County. So the planned construction schedule for this is starting in summer of 2018. It will take about 3 months to build the project, and this will really address a problem intersection we both have, Franklin County and Delaware County. So.
It really is a problem intersection. I know it very well. Yes, very, very well. It's the closest intersection to my home. And, yeah, cars traveling to and from over Hoover Dam, they, go very fast, and it's a dangerous intersection, so.
Yes.
And you were modest. We're administering the old state project, so, which I think is probably a bigger project, so.
Yeah, much bigger.
It goes both ways as far as.
Well, Columbus can thank us for that. We'll thank Franklin County for this one, but yes, we try to do our part when we can, and it is worth noting we've done other mutual projects between Franklin County and ourselves, including the Harlem Road and Smothers Road intersection was just to the east of this one, which we largely administered. So,
Okay. All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-946. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-947, in the matter of selling personal property to Kingston Township and Porter Township, Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
we have two pickup trucks, a 2005 Chevy and a 2003 Ford, which we were proposing to dispose of at auction.
We did receive interest from Kingston and Porter Townships to purchase those pickup trucks, and we have agreed on a price of $500 each for those pickups. They're both very high mileage and have some rust, but the townships seem to think they can get some use out of those. We're more than happy to agree to sell those to the townships.
All right, vote.
Vote on motion 17-947. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution
Thank you.
number 17-948, in the matter of authorizing the use of Delaware County safety grant funds to purchase safety equipment via a request by the Director of Safety and Security.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Good morning, Brian Gallagher, Director of Safety and Security for the county. We've gone through the process of requesting through the workers' comp grant in Delaware County for a myriad of safety equipment from fall, most of it's fall protection, but there's a variety of equipment in there that we need to have in the county.
You'd talked about this before, so it sounds like this is coming to fruition.
Say again?
You had talked about doing some of this before.
Yes,
so
yes, sir.
You had briefed us earlier. Have any questions? Okay, we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-948. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you. Just one other quick thing. Want to take this chance to thank the commissioners. You may not know, supporting the military, but Farzan and Dawn and Cy, let me go do things from time to time. And that occurred a couple days ago. I was a pallbearer for ET2 Drake, who had passed away on the USS McCain. So I was a part of that ceremony. They needed some officers there. They like to have officers and enlisted when they do that. So I worked through them. They let me go. It was it was somber, but it was an experience. I've never been a pallbearer off of a plane before. And actually on Saturday, I'll be part of that ceremony as well. So I didn't know if you knew that or not, but if not, I just wanted to say thanks for your support.
Thank you for the...
Yeah, thank you for helping the family and honoring the military.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, are we doing the hearing now?
Yes.
Okay.
Resolution number 17-949, public hearing for consideration of the application to add certain parcels of real property to the Concord Scioto Community Authority District and to amend the petition for establishment of a Concord Scioto Community Authority as a new community authority under Chapter 349 of the Ohio Revised Code.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-949. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 17-950, in the matter of approving for a specific occurrence a suspension of Rule 3, speaker registration, Rule 4, limitations, and Rule 7, public comment procedure from the rules of governing public comment before the Board of County Commissioners of Delaware County, Ohio.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-950. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yeah, I could say a couple words.
Oh, well, we're just waiving the rules at this point.
We're just approving the rule.
We're just approving the rule waivers at this point. We'll open it up for speaking. Okay. Yeah, we're just waiving the rules, procedures. Okay, where were we on the vote?
I got all three of
Okay.
ayes, so.
Okay, now the hearing is open. So if there are speakers or a speaker, we will welcome comments at this point.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you, and sorry for my over-eagerness. I'm Nick Gordon from Bricker and Eckler. We represent the Concord Scioto Community Authority as General Counsel, and this application relates to the addition of approximately 80 acres of property that's going to be developed by MI Homes into approximately 162 single-family homes, and it's consistent with the broader agreements between Concord Scioto Community Authority and the county related to the provision of sewer in that area. And this application has been approved by the City of Delaware as proximate city under the statute, and it's been approved by the only two property owners of the subject property. So I'm happy to entertain any questions, but this hearing's more of a formality for the approval.
No questions.
And I had no questions either. I was aware of the details behind this, and I'm okay with it, so we'll take a vote.
We'll close
Oh, wait,
the
we have to
hearing.
close the hearing first. Yes, we'll take a vote.
Resolution number 17-951, in the matter of closing the public hearing for consideration of the application to add certain parcels of real property to the Concord Scioto Community Authority District and to amend the petition for establishment of the Concord Scioto Community Authority as a new community authority under Chapter 359 of the Ohio Revised Code.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-951. Mr. Merrill? Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Okay.
Resolution number 17-952, resolution approving the application to add certain parcels of real property to the Concord Scioto Community Authority District and to amend the petition for establishment of the Concord Scioto Community Authority as a new community authority under Chapter 349 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Second.
Discussion? Vote?
Vote on motion 17-952. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Item number 14 has been moved.
Yes, we're going to
removed.
move that to the 25th, I think
Yes.
is what the target is.
So that takes us to page 584.
Okay.
Resolution number 17-953, in the matter of approving appointments to the Delaware County Transit Board.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Ross, Communications Manager. This is for the matter of, they're all reappointments to the Data Board, the Delaware Area Transit Agency, and it's Tracy Cromwell, Jacob Fath-Bruckner, and Roger Van Sickle, and we recommend your approval.
Vote?
Vote on motion 17-953. Mr. Merrill? Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
And Jane is going to stay to have a discussion with us.
Well, I'm going to recommend, given the pileup of items we have today to get through, especially an executive session with people waiting patiently, that if we want to defer this discussion until either the 25th or the 28th, would that be amenable?
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
In fact, 28th may be better. I got a feeling we're going to have a pretty busy schedule on the 25th.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 28th?
I assume that's okay time-wise for you? Jane?
Yeah, there's
No
no
magic.
time element, yeah, to this, no pressing need, yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, I had some just questions and so on,
Okay.
so that's probably
Yeah, I'd
better.
rather not rush through this, so,
Okay.
okay, thank you.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Resolution number 17-954, in the matter of accepting promotional items for the Delaware County Fair on behalf of the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office Victim Services Unit.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. I wasn't sure I heard anything.
Whichever you want to put us down for,
Take
Sarah.
a choice.
All right, discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Nicole Ford with the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office. The Delaware County Prosecutor's Office Victim Services Unit has a booth at the Delaware County Fair. This operates as an informational and community outreach booth. Our booth is geared towards all individuals with our giveaways and promotional items. We are requesting permission to give away items donated to help spread the word and draw people into our booth and to learn about the services that we do provide in the county. We would like to give away items donated by Meyer, the Columbus Zoo, Magic Mountain Family Fun Center, Columbus Blue Jackets, Grader's Ice Cream, and Fort Meyer & Sons. We also have different promotional items to give away this year. We did the yardsticks with the horse heads. That was a huge success the past 2 years, but this year we're going to try something different, and we're giving away fans.
Oh, good.
All of you guys get a fan.
Good. Thank you. All right.
Very good. Thank you.
A yardstick. Oh,
Oh, it's a ruler stick.
that's a ruler. That's nice. Thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thank you.
Any comments, questions?
No.
That's nice that you do that, so.
Yes,
And it's
yes.
nice that the vendors and retailers support it, so we'll take a vote.
Vote on motion 17-954. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Do you have anyone to introduce?
Yeah, did you want to introduce your guest?
Your guest?
Intern guest?
Commissioners, this is Robert Yaptango. He is our new fellow, which you guys will be seeing on the agenda soon. We get a OSU chooses basically could be any county prosecutor's office to receive a fellow that has recently graduated from the law school of The Ohio State University, and we have been able to accept that award the past, this is now our 4th year, and they fund that fellow, and they're awaiting their bar results. So this is Robert Yaptango.
Welcome, Robert.
And he's going to be working with the civil unit.
Yep.
Civil,
Yep.
yes.
Good luck on the bar exam, the results. I know you've already taken it. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
If I can explain something, I forgot to hand around the sign-in sheet for the new community authority. That was my bad. So it is currently going
It's going
around the
around.
room.
Okay.
Otherwise, Cy Killy.
Administrative reports?
I have nothing to report today,
right.
unless Dawn does, since she was supposed to sit up.
Dawn? All right. Commissioner Lewis?
I attended a DKMM Policy Committee meeting along with our communications manager, Jane Hawes, and what we're doing is we have several meetings to do a state-mandated policy plan for DK, the recycling group, DKMM Recycling. And it's kind of like a strategic plan, so we're working on that. And then we have the BIA Parade of Homes and reception Tuesday evening, which we actually invited people to. So it was good to see some of our people there and some of the builders too, and the homes are gorgeous.
Yeah, BIA said the attendance is almost equal to last year,
Oh, really?
which
Wow.
was a big year for them. So it's a smaller parade this year, but very nice.
Oh, very nice.
Nice area,
Yes.
nice homes.
Right here.
It seems to be well attended, which is exciting, and they're hopefully going to have it in Delaware County again next year.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
yeah. That's all.
Okay.
I don't really have very much in the spirit of time, as Jane indicated. There's a more policy meeting this afternoon at 1:30, which,
You going to that? I'll be going.
which I will be at, and tomorrow CCA board meeting, so I'll be downtown back-to-back days. So, other than that, that's all.
All right, just a couple other things real quickly. The fair does start tomorrow, or Saturday, I mean, and that's always such a huge event in Delaware County. The Little Brown Jug is next Thursday, which is Delaware County's day to shine for the region. 50,000 people will be here that day, and it's always a fun day. Let's see, we've got more interviews, and I just have to mention, the Indians won their 21st in a row. American League record, and they're tied now for the Major League record of 21 in a row, and hopefully they'll win tonight. And sorry, Eric, but they swept your Detroit Tigers again. It really does. So anyway, we will move into executive session and do the resolution.
Resolution number 17-955, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of appointment of a public employee or public official for pending or imminent litigation.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 17-955. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Hi.
Very good. Okay, we're in executive session. Jane needs to keep heard on the